All right. Well, welcome everyone. It is a delight to be here with you tonight. Tonight is the 15th night of our class, and I want to start off by complimenting you. There's James. I want to compliment you all on being such great students. I want to tell you, I've been teaching here at Garner-Webb now for a year and a half, and you're one of the best, two of the best classes I've had. Most, if not about 99% of you are finished with TaskStream. Almost all of you are finished with Blackboard and have scored extremely well. So I want to first of all congratulate you and tell you that I'm extremely pleased to have been a part of your education at Garner-Webb University, and I hope you've had a good experience at Garner-Webb, and I hope that you will help us pass that message around to your colleagues that Garner-Webb is a good place to be. I hope that's your experience. I really do. I have also had a chance to read all of your papers and to grade those, and I can tell you that I feel very comfortable that you all are ready for your next step. I know many of you are having interviews. Many of you will be planning to have interviews coming up over the summer. So I also want to offer that if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know. The success of our program is if we put you in successful administrative positions. That's why you took this program. That's why you've been with us now for these semesters. And so the real success of the program is not necessarily how you feel about the instruction you've gotten. It really is whether or not we prepared you for that next step in your career. And that's what I really wanted to hear about. So when you get those interviews or you get those positions, please let me know, and just know that we'll be rooting for you. And if I can do anything to assist you, I'll be glad to do that. That's it. Again, you have been a pleasure to work with, and I certainly have enjoyed this experience. It's kind of really sad on my end that tonight is the last night, but I understand 15 weeks of me, you're probably about ready for something else and some enjoyment of the summer as well. You should have received an email from Dr. Bull, and if not, I have copied it here on week 15. This tells you how to go to the licensure system for the state of North Carolina. Real couple quick questions. One is, when can you do it? And I am told that you need to make sure that you have your transcript from Garner-Webb University, which of course, obviously you would need. I am also told by the others in the program that the transcript should be available as soon as the class, about 2 weeks after class ends, and the official end date for this semester is the 15th. So by May 25th, you should have access to your transcripts. So it does take them a little while to turn around. They can't do transcripts until the course is over. I am putting in grades tonight, and so that will not hold you up. So as soon, and that means that you might be first in the queue when they start doing these transcripts or updating transcripts. But as soon as you get that, feel free to go ahead and follow the process. If you are a South Carolina friend, there is some information here about how South Carolina requires a practice exam. I understand they're not doing it, but you might want to look at the site for South Carolina. If you have any questions about what South Carolina requires, shoot me an email or something. I will follow up with Dr. Bull, or if you want to shoot one directly to him, and try to get you some answers for those of you in South Carolina. But here's Dr. Bull's note. Evidently, he is now going to be the person who is in charge of this. So there's how to go on to the licensure. I have also included, again, a reminder that Dr. Lamb keeps up longitudinal studies about students' feedback of the program. So if you don't mind doing this, it's just simply a cut and paste and answering those particular 7 questions. It's really not about your experience in 605. It's more about your experience in the MELS program, all of the 5 courses that you've taken, your connections with the Clinical Coach 1 and your connections with your Clinical Coach 2. So it's really a reflection on the whole MELS program. The last things you'll see in this shell for week 15 are some specific things that Dr. Lamb has put together about interviewing techniques, a couple of funny interviews, AP questions. These are some general types of questions that people will ask, and a couple of other things. There's also a sample cover letter. When you start applying for AP positions, this kind of is what I thought was a pretty good letter, and then there's a sample resume for someone who applied for an administrative position. So that is what we have in Shell 15. I want to remind you, we don't have graduation on May the 9th, but we are looking at August the 1st. I still am told that's the date. There was some confusion. I may have said something different last week, but I am told it's August the 1st. And I am also told that it's 3 p.m., but we'll keep up with you and you'll keep getting information from the university about that, even when this course is closed out. So keep checking your Garner Web information, Garner Web email, so you can be ready for that. Now, are there any questions for me? Let me stop sharing to see your faces. Wow, 22 of you. I'm impressed. You guys have been really good about attending too. I know this is one of those where you really don't have to attend. So I have to tell you, it makes me feel really good to see you. So I'm just not talking to myself on the screen. That's kind of odd. And again, thank you all for being here. So are there any questions about what next? Tonight's our last night. We will be done as far as coursework, but I am certainly wanting to hear about your career advancements. I want to hear about those interviews. I want to hear about those job promotions that you've gotten. And again, I offer my assistance whatever way in which I can help you. Not only did you get me for 605, but you got me for life. So use me. All right. Any questions before we start our real quick little sample interview? All right. I'm looking for my Miss Smith. Are you here? Oh no, Anthony, that's just not good news for you.
Let's do it.
No, to be fair, we'll see if Ms. Smith comes in. If not, is there someone else who would like to? Because it's 5 questions, and I want to spread it out. Another maybe female, maybe. Come on,
Miss Hawkins. Come on, Miss Hawkins.
Blair.
Where are you?
I mean, I'll do it if you take it easy.
All right. What I will do is I will ask Anthony, and then I'll turn to you if Ms. Smith has not joined us. If Ms. Smith is here, we'll do it. All right. So I'm going to leave you on the screen.
All right.
All right. So let's first of all talk about your interview. Now this is a face-to-face interview. Traditionally, let's talk about that first, which none of you are going to have over the summer. They're all going to be virtual. And different counties do it different ways. If it's a large county like Wake County or some of the other counties, they're probably going to have one first interview just to see whether or not you're worth their time. And that interview is the one that you really have to impress. And that's going to be a virtual one. So first and foremost, look where you're sitting. Make sure you have a background that is conducive to an interview. Don't want to pick on you, Nick, but a bed is probably not where you want to be. You would also not want to be, and even though we're only seeing you face up, I would suggest that in your virtual interview that you also dress for it, that you wear the coat and tie, that you are prepared as a professional, because one of the key things they're looking at is whether or not you're going to be professional looking and acting. So be leery of your background. A great background would be a bookcase full of books. It would be your classroom. It would be something that obviously shows that you've got an affinity for it and you love children. And if you're going for an elementary principalship or assistant principalship, think about what would be an ideal, what would your office look like, and try to mimic that. If you're in a high school, of course, you wouldn't have a lot of other things. But the first and foremost thing is to look at your environment, because I have watched all of you in these 15 weeks, and I can tell where you're watching this video, where you are, you're in a comfortable spot. In your interview, you need to be in a spot that kind of portrays I'm a professional. If you have a virtual background, I don't really like those. Unless you are a virtual, if you're applying for a Wake County, let's say you're applying for Wakefield Elementary School, a virtual background of Wakefield Elementary School in the background would be awesome. If it's something else, I would, you can do that. I would look for your virtual backgrounds to reflect again. And I think that would be an awesome touch to have Wakefield Elementary in the background, something, a picture of the school, or something that shows that you've done a little bit more in planning for this interview. So that's your virtual.
But Dr. Stone, so when you do the virtual background, you got to make sure like it's just white behind you, because if you don't, it'll be in and out. Like your face will be in and out with the coloration of everything that's going on. So I think
there's something you can do to say you are not a green screen or something. Yes, you're right though, Anthony. Whatever that is, I can do it on my laptop, but I can't do it here in the office, because be careful if you do it. You're right. You don't want to come in and out like that. But there is something you can do, and it has to do with the green screen behind you that I think will take care of that problem. You all may know it a little bit better. Obviously, you do know it a lot better than I, so just be leery of that if you do a virtual. But set your background. Be professional, sit up straight, look as if you, as much as you can, into the camera for that virtual, because this is their first impression of you. And they are going to need to have a good first impression, so they will call you back for that second interview. That first interview will get them to think of you as a candidate. When someone applies for an assistant principal position, chances are, and this will bear itself out when you start having a couple of these, chances are you're going to be in a pile of 20 people who apply for that position. Half of them are going to come from inside the county if you're applying from outside the county. Most counties, and you may want to check your board policy to see if this is true, a lot of counties have a policy or a procedure that says we give preference to our own people. That's okay, you can still apply, but I would certainly want to know before I go into it. If you are one of the teachers in the building, I think it's almost a given that you're going to be a candidate, although I would encourage you not to apply for that. I would encourage you not to apply for the school that you've been in for 10, 15, 20 years, unless you really feel a passion for it and it's a small community school. If it's a huge school, I would probably recommend that you try to go outside. And the reason for that is because particularly if it's a larger school, once you get into that, you've got people who've been with you forever, and it's very difficult to jump across that line and be the administrator. But if it's a small community school, K-12 or something like that, and you've been known in the school and it's a kind of an easy way to transition, that's okay. But if it's going to be a large school, I'd recommend that you kind of go out. You look elsewhere. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because, and that's the other thing, be willing to move, be willing to travel. All right, so if it's they're all going to be virtual, but if you have a face-to-face, of course, Dale's got a lot of type of things that you would look for. In your interview, whether it's a virtual or the face-to-face, there's always going to be the traditional questions, unless it's something really weird or strange. They're going to start off asking you to tell them about yourself. They're going to finish up asking you, did you want to ask, was there something that they didn't ask that you want to share, or was there something you just want to share with them? Golden opportunities, because that first question is all about giving you an opportunity to brag and to impress them. Because if you mess up that first question, I'm probably going to be looking at my sheet. You know, my mind will probably think, oh, all right, 30 minutes for this one, then we got the next one. So really, you got to catch them on that first question. And the importance of the last question is they ought to feel like when you leave from that room, wow, she did great. She left a great impression. So first and last impressions are very important. And those are the open-ended questions. Those are the chances for you to really shine. You should always follow up with a thank you note to whoever was chair of the committee. Make sure that's a clear thing. I would always suggest that if you want to bring your portfolio or bring something in to show, realizing that if you pass it around, they're not paying attention to you. So leave it. You can tell them that you would leave it. So leave a copy for them. Do not encourage them to look at it, because if they're looking at it, they're only flipping through and they're not paying attention to your answers. So just say, I brought one for you. I'm going to leave it for you to look at later, because it will go to the interview team chair. And if it's between you and someone else and he or she has this portfolio, they may spend a little bit more time on it. It is wasted in your interview. Absolutely wasted, because if you're passing it around, chances are someone's not paying attention, and you don't want to lose your audience, because you've only got 30 minutes, probably, or 45, to really impress them. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about it after, because a part of what I wanted to do with the 5 questions, and Ms. Smith is here. Thank you for joining us. I was getting a little worried about you. So I'm going to ask Anthony the first question, Tanya the second, Anthony, Tanya second, Anthony. All right, so the questions are general questions. The scenario that I gave them is very brief. I told them that they were applying for Happy Valley Elementary School, which is a real school in Caldwell County. It is 350 students, which is a pre-K through 5, so it's an elementary. It's in the rural community. It's a rural K-5 school, rural community, remember that. So this is all a part of your research you do prior to your before your interview. You got to know a little bit about the school. You got to know a little bit beyond the test scores and the school improvement plans. Those are important because there will be questions about those, but it is also important to know what kind of school you're looking at. It is also important to know where it is. It's also important to understand kind of if you had some information about why the principal left or what's happening. And the thing I would do there is suggest that if it's in Caldwell County, you Google Caldwell County newspapers and see if there's anything about the principal being forced out because he was stealing money. Well, that kind of tells you what kind of environment you're going into, of an environment of mistrust or a whole lot of things that you're going to have to do differently. So whatever kind of research you can do, but be prepared and know a little bit about your school. All right, so Anthony, are you ready? And this is
Yes,
a
sir.
serious interview, Anthony. So you are interviewing for Happy Valley Elementary School. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to ask Anthony the question. Anthony is going to answer it. We're going to call timeout. I'm going to give Anthony feedback, and I'm going to throw it open to you all as his colleagues to say, here's what I would have done differently. Okay? Then we'll do the same for time. And we're going to be brutally honest. Right, Anthony? That's what you signed up for?
I'm a coach, so that's all good with me.
All right. So, all right, Anthony, thank you for coming in. So tell me about yourself.
Well, be 31 in June, have a little girl. She's 3. I've been teaching Math 1 for 6 years now. Going into my 7th year, I really want to step it up. I feel like I can impact. I see things, and I just want to implement ideas quickly. I've seen a lot of success in turnaround math communities, so much that I was part of Success by Design to help Title I schools build up during my time in Title I schools. I got to be at Advanced High School, North Mech, got to work with ET population and get those kids to succeed a lot. And I feel like, crap. All right, keep rolling. I've been able to implement some different initiatives as far as the school goes in handling behaviors. Beginning teachers, love working with them and watching them get better and grow. And I've had the opportunity to turn around a couple departments, and I'm happy about that. Being able to coach basketball, change the lives of some young men. So I really love impacting the kids, and their success is just my happiness.
Okay. All right. First of all, let's talk about what this question is really about. I have Anthony's resume. So everything Anthony told me, except some of the personal stuff, I already know about, and I can't ask him about that personal stuff. I can't ask him if he's married. I can't ask him about how many children he has. None of that is relevant to this interview. Other than at some point, I already know, because I'm not interviewing Anthony I'm interviewing for an assistant principal. So in this question, tell me about yourself. Remember, all these people have already seen your interview. You'll go into a team of 4 or 5 of them. They've read your resume. They've underlined where you went to school. They've underlined where you've been in your last jobs. And they have probably looked very carefully at the section that you all didn't spend a lot of time on. And that is your other duties and responsibilities. That's the section in a resume that's always, always weak for most of them. So make sure you pay attention to that one. Where you go to school really doesn't matter as long as it was an accredited university and you got an awesome degree. I'm not particularly hiring just UNC Chapel Hill graduates. I'm really hiring people with a master's degree. I'm also looking at your GPA a little bit. But what really impresses me, and the place you get to brag the most, is that question of other things and responsibilities and other things that you want me to know. So let's look at Anthony's question. This question is designed, when I ask you to tell me about yourself, I don't need to hear anything about that resume. I've seen it, I've read it, I've underlined what's important to me. I already know Anthony's professional background when he comes in. So this question is the first question you'll probably get, and it's important because this is where you can brag. This is where you really make that first impression. This is where you make your first connection with Happy Valley Elementary School. And unfortunately, Anthony did not mention Happy Valley Elementary School. Anthony didn't mention elementary, period. And so that is an opportunity for Anthony to have said something to the effect, because here's what they're doing. They're trying to find out if Anthony's a good match. Now, a couple of things Anthony said I really like, but he needs to make it elementary. or he needs to put it in the language of elementary schools. If you're applying for an elementary school, they don't have departments. Most don't, and I know Happy Valley does not. So any high school language should be left off the table. So here's what I would suggest, Anthony. Number one, in this, they've read your resume, so I would suggest that you go in, thank you, I'm Anthony Parks. I'm very interested in Happy Valley Elementary School. I've done a lot of research about this school. I know it's a Title I school, and I have a lot of experience in Title I schools. I've had a chance to be on my school improvement team in my school. I've had a chance to coach some students or some kids out in the community. And I've also had a chance to work through my internship through my university. I've had a chance to do some internships with discipline, with doing schedules and those kinds of things. So this first question is a wide open question for you to brag about yourself. But if you don't mention the school, you are missing an opportunity, because they may not ask you later on what research you've done on Happy Valley Elementary School, but they are certainly looking for it. And remember, this is your first foot in the door. And so if Anthony had not mentioned Happy Valley Elementary School, and it appeared to me that he was high school, which was clearly what he answered, I would have probably marked him off and said, let's get an elementary candidate. So if you are not elementary and you're applying for an elementary school, make those connections that are in an elementary school. Title I, school improvement team. I've been charged of supervising other teachers, supervising student teachers, those kinds of things that are important, that would be important to these people in that particular school. And I like the fact that he mentioned kids, because if you don't throw in every single question that you answer that you love children and you like working with children, then you're missing an opportunity. And if you're going to an elementary school, they are kids, they are children. And you've got to make sure that you portray yourself as a loving, caring, I really love kids. And I've got three of my own. We have a great time. I love my elementary, the teachers that my kids have had in elementary school. So if you aren't elementary, you've got to learn to make some connections to an elementary setting so they can begin to see you in an elementary setting.
So a question real quick, 'cause I know you're about to open it out. I just want to get this question in. So could I have tied in the fact that, although I've been high school, experiencing helping my 3-year-old learn stuff helps me work on a younger kid's level?
I think anything you can tie into younger kids would be to your advantage.
Okay.
And if you coach elementary school kids, like if you coach Baby Ruth or any of those, baby, whatever it's called. Is it Baby Ruth? What is it called? I don't know. But if you coach those kids.
It's called Cal Ripken.
All right, just if you can make that elementary connection. All right, any other things that you all noticed about Anthony? He's okay. He can take our comments. Do you think he sold himself?
I think he did. I think he's a wonderful person. He was my Zoom team member, but I would have introduced it by saying, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Anthony Parks. I'm a devoted father of a 3-year-old. And in that time, I've had experience with her and her friends and outings and such, and then tie in. I think it was superb to tie in the Title I and the incentives. That was awesome.
Absolutely. And anyone else? I've got one more thing for Anthony. So he'll do better on question 3.
Personally, I would say, and first off, I apologize, my camera isn't working. But I would say Anthony had mentioned that he was a coach before he even began. I would say emphasize the coaching experience as an opportunity of leadership as well, really kind of promoting himself as a strong leader, both on the field, whatever sport that may be, and in the classroom and school environment as well.
Excellent point, because coaching is all about teamsmanship, building teams, working through teams. Excellent point. And even though, and in a high school, that would be a great sale that he's willing to coach, but in an elementary, the skills that come with coaching would be a great thing to mention too, Anthony. Anyone else?
Appreciate it.
Anthony, I just want to say you can't go in and let them know that you're nervous. So when you had to put your head down and say, oh, got to keep it going, just keep talking. Don't let them know that you're nervous and you kind of getting your thoughts together.
And slow down, Anthony, and slow down and smile. And don't roll your eyes or don't appear as if you're uncomfortable. Just smile, look at me and smile, and and you make that eye contact. That's half the battle. All right. Thank you, Anthony. Be ready for number 3. All right, question number 2. Ms. Smith, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm well. Welcome. All
Thank
right.
you.
So, Ms. Smith, you've applied for Happy Valley Elementary School. Why do you want this job? Why this job?
Well, this job is so important to me because I know the impact that Happy Valley Elementary has on the community. I am a member of Happy Valley community, and I understand the needs of the parents as well as the needs of the students. And one of the things that I think is so important is to establish more community outreach. I would love to be a part of Happy Valley staff in order to join the community in reference to reaching out to parents, making sure that our students have resources beyond what is actually in the classroom, and connecting the families more to events that are happening in the school as well as outside of the school. In conjunction with that, I think that I would be a great member of Happy Valley Elementary because every summer I actually work at a child development center. I have established relationships with kids that actually attend Happy Valley Elementary. I know their parents as well. So being able to take that relationship and expand beyond being at the Child Development Center would also be an asset for Happy Valley Elementary. In conjunction with that, I have sat on the school improvement team in developing plans and outreach of helping parents and students to learn. I am invested in making sure that our students reach their educational benchmarks. And I see some of the concerns that Happy Valley Elementary kids have in learning math and reading. And I would like to join your team in order to help or assist with the efforts of helping them to increase their reading and math scores.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Smith, the internal candidate. Next question, you're not the internal candidate. You are the external candidate. But, all right, so first of all, this question, why do you want this job? Why specifically do you want to work at Happy Valley Elementary School? What I'm really looking for is, have you done your research? What do you know about Happy Valley Elementary School? And Ms. Smith, if you had done your research, you would have known that parents love Happy Valley. So we do not have a problem connecting with parents. We have more parental support than we've ever done. So I would not have wasted my time talking about getting more because we feel really, really good about it. So that's not something that we're looking for in an assistant principal because we already, you remember, I think I sent you and I said we had a lot of parental support. Did you get that?
I didn't get anything for today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I saw I sent it last week.
I didn't see anything in my inbox.
Okay. Did you see it, Anthony?
I got it, but I know where she's coming from because I have all of that stuff down in my notes too. Like I know what you sent, but when I went and looked at
I didn't get that.
Okay. Well, to that point then, I'll let you off the hook on that one. But to that point, know that if they have a great PTA and all those types of things, that's something you don't need to waste your time on because they already feel good about that and they don't need to have someone coming in telling them that they're going to help them improve on that because you can't. I mean, they are already, well, you can, but they're already where they feel like they need to be. So they're not really interested in that. What they really are interested in is something that Ms. Smith did say, and that was that our reading and math scores are not where they need to be. So whatever, and you knew that, Ms. Smith, because you've looked at my report card or Happy Valley's report card. You've looked at our parent-teacher or our parent surveys and our teacher working condition surveys. So you have a really good feel that that may be what we need the most. If our scores are below the state, below the average, then yes, that's what you should certainly talk to us about what you can bring. So in this particular question, it's really, the first question was a chance for you to brag and shine on and to just brag about yourself and what you can bring. And you're looking for what the school needs. That's what you're going to brag about. You're going to look for what it is that they need, and then you're going to brag about how you can help meet that need. So you're selling yourself. The second question you really are looking at, again, this is where you've studied the data, and it's pretty clear that if Ms. Smith had said that your math scores are 10 points below the state average, you're 10 points below what Caldwell County has. So obviously we need to do something in math. So that's going to be an immediate thing that I think I can bring to the table. I've had some experience with math, with improving math. scores. I've had some experience on serving on school improvement teams where math has been our focus. And so I really feel like that's what I can bring to the table. So you've done two things. One, you've let the team know that you know a little bit about Happy Valley Elementary School. And the second one is that, you know what, I might just be the right fit. Looking at your data, I might be the right fit for this particular school. All right, anyone else? Any other, you talk too fast, Miss Smith. You talk way too fast. Slow down, maintain your eye contact, read your audience, and just slow it down. You don't have to answer everything within that 1 or 2 minutes. So just, I would suggest that you slow down because you're very fast. But I do like the way in this virtual thing, you are leaning into the screen. Your face is clearly what I see. I see you smile. I see you not sweating. I see you thinking. I like that. Your physical presence in the screen, and I'm sure you'd be just as great in person, is great. Any other suggestions from Ms. Smith on that particular question of why do you want this particular job? They're going to ask it. Unless it's that first one where they find out whether or not you're okay to be an assistant principal. They're going to ask you why you want to be an assistant principal. What's the right answer to that? Why you want to be an assistant principal? Is it to do discipline and to do bus routes? What is the right answer? Anyone? What's the right answer to being an assistant principal? Why do you want to do it?
Because you want to help impact the you want to help change the school. You want to help change the teachers. You want to, you know, grow your teachers and help them be the best that they can be so they can provide the best instruction and care for your students. It's all about the students at the end of the day, but you get to the students through the teachers and by developing your own relationship with the kids.
You all copy this answer. This was a perfect answer. It'll be on the video when you watch it later. It's all about the kids. Anyone else have a reason why you want to be the assistant principal? What are some things that you don't want to say?
Pay increase.
There's not much.
To get out the classroom.
Yeah, you don't want to say that at all. Because there are classroom teachers on your committee and they're not really happy to hear you say you want to get out of the classroom. So really, in that question, as in every question, you should mention the kids and how being an administrator is a learning experience. First of all, Ms. Jackson, you don't know everything when you come to Happy Valley Elementary School, but it's a learning experience for you. But what you do know is that good teachers make great students and great communities. So even though that's kind of your message is, and it's much more important in an elementary and a middle school than it is a high school, that it's all about what you can do to kids to help improve the lives of kids. And it's not just about the academic. It's all about the other parts that they bring to the table as well. But Ms. Jackson, you had an awesome answer. Anyone else for this particular question?
Help in regards to helping them achieve their mission and vision for the school, helping to expand on that in reference to, again, reaching the students, putting new programs or incentives in place in reference to student engagement and student achievement.
Okay, unless you're very, okay. I would suggest that you don't say too much about putting in new programs. I'd say I'd go a little cautious on that, Ms. Smith, because those teachers on that committee are thinking, oh my God, she's got the perfect program or one or two of them that she's going to bring to us. So I would begin by suggesting that you want to support the existing programs and look for ways in which we can make them better. Because the teachers on the committee do not want to hear about somebody coming in with a whole bunch of canned programs that's going to upset everything. So I would suggest that you say, you know, you guys are doing some great work and I want to be a part of that. I want to find out what's working well and be a part of the team that kind of develops where we go next. And remember, always mention too, you want to be a part of that team because an assistant principal is a part of the team. Good job. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
You're welcome.
All right, Anthony, you're back up.
All right.
Question number 3. Mr. Parks.
Yes, sir.
What can you bring to this job that other candidates cannot?
Well, let's see. I love my energy. I have energy for these kids. I have energy for their success. I feel like my energy with Happy Valley energy, it only makes sense. High energy, I am. Happy Valley, it makes sense for us to be a match.
Eyes down.
Let's see. I want to bring I want to help bring the math scores up. Me having a background in math, I know I can help there. I want to know what you guys are doing already that works, what you guys think that you can improve on. From looking at your teacher working conditions survey, it seems like you guys want to implement more technology in the classroom. And I believe with Title I funding and stuff, I think we can do that. I have some great ideas that I believe that have worked for my math classrooms. I think we can go cross-curricular and push the reading agenda to help improve reading scores to compete on the state level. And I really want to be a part of the team and help them compete with other schools in the county and have these kids compete on a global perspective.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody? So let me tell you what this question is asking. Again, a very general question, but what can you bring to this specific job? Again, you're going to be, the rationale behind this question is, do you know what we need? Do you know what Happy Valley Elementary School needs? What kind of principal do we need? So what can you bring? It really is an opportunity for one, to go back to the first two questions. One, brag about something that's unique to Happy Valley Elementary School. And what Anthony did was he mentioned the reading scores, which we already know are bad or worse than the states. He also mentioned that he had, I think you said you had some background in math.
Yes.
And we know that our math scores are not well. So what he was able to do with this question was to, again, hit upon and impress upon this committee that he does not know it all, but he has some success in areas in which this particular school might need it. One of the things he did say though is them. Remember, when you're interviewing to be a part of us, and so be very careful about what your language, because you're wanting to be a part of this team. So it's really not what you guys did. That's another thing too. Do not say you guys, even though we use it in class, and I'm the world's worst about it. It's not a formal interview. I would recommend you be very formal and not say you guys. It's kind of too familiar. It's not a professional statement, even though I do it a lot. So, but in this particular question, what Anthony got right, I thought, was that he immediately reassured this particular interview team that he has done his research. He knows math and reading. He's got some extra expertise in math. He's not coming in. He made it clear he's a team player. I would have suggested us versus them, but he's made it clear that he wants to be a part of the team. He mentioned he wanted to be a part of the team, and he also mentioned some unique things that he could bring to it. Anyone else? Any feedback for Anthony? Anything he did wrong other than them? He moves around. You move around a lot.
I know. I try to control it. I'm that way all the time.
So if you ever have a virtual one, you might want to consider putting your hands in your lap and, kind of just staring straight ahead and smile. And you smile a lot, Anthony, which is very good. But I would suggest that you not, because on my screen you tend to move back and yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time sitting still.
It's a virtual thing. Any other suggestions for Anthony? Good job, Anthony. All right, Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Now remember, this time you are an external candidate.
Yes.
Only your research. All right, so if we were to hire you, Ms. Smith, for this job, what do you think a typical day would be like for you? How do you see spending your day?
Well, first of all, see spending my day making sure that the kids are safe, making sure that their needs are met, and making sure that teachers are supported with the change of every period and with every activity that is going on in the school. I see my day as being very interactive with the teachers and the students throughout the school, and making sure that all the needs and concerns are being addressed as they're presented.
All right. Short, but she hit some really good things. And if I were sitting on this committee, I really liked what she said. She rather than going into what a typical assistant principal's jobs will be and what it will be for most of you, of doing the buses and the discipline and things like that, she took a different approach, which is fantastic. I think her mentioning right off the bat, it's all about making sure the kids are safe and in a good environment, and the culture here is good for learning. And then she immediately pivoted to taking care of teachers. And I'm a teacher on this committee. I'm thinking I like her. She's got her priorities straight. She wants to be a part of the team. She wants to help us, first and foremost, making sure our kids are here, but she also mentioned us within that listing as well. Her answer was too short. You could have gone on and talked a little bit more about understanding all the duties that an assistant principal does, because the nature of this question is to find out whether or not you really know what the job's about. And so I would have gone on and mentioned something about, I also understand that I will be working with teachers to develop curriculum. I'll be working with evaluation of teachers. I will also be working with the principal. And again, you're trying to appease the principal too. I'll be doing other duties as assigned. I'm really excited about it. My day will not be typical. My day is going to be here to make sure our kids, our students, and this culture of climate of learning is intact. But I'm going to do all the other little things to make sure that teachers' don't have to jump through hoops. Teachers' jobs will be made much better. And I'm here to do whatever my principal needs me to do, because I am trying to learn everything I can to be the best administrator I can. So at some point I can take those skills with me when I get my own school. But so don't leave out the reality that, because most people at the table know you're going to be doing discipline. The principal is going to give you discipline, and that's what you're going to spend most of your day on. But I also like the fact that you're out and about in the buildings, not just, you mentioned you'll be there in the mornings. You didn't mention you'll be there when the buses roll. You'll be there answering the phones when they come in. You'll be returning parent messages. You'll be serving on IEP teams. So again, this question gives you an opportunity to really kind of say, I understand what my job's like. I understand some of the different unique things that I'm going to be called upon to do. But I really, really like the way, Ms. Smith, you started off with, it's about making sure these kids are safe. It's about supporting my teachers. That needs to be the beginning of the question, and it needs to be the end of the question. And in the middle, you need to show an understanding of the other things that you're going to be required to do. I don't want you to be surprised when you get to Happy Valley School and understand that 90% of the day you're going to be dealing with discipline. So I want you to have an understanding that that's a part of what assistant principals do. It also is a chance for you to show that, look, I understand the school improvement team process. I understand how we get Title I funding, how budgeting works. It's a great opportunity for them for the committee to see that not only are you going to be about the people, but you're going to be making sure that building runs smoothly and protecting the culture of learning there. Good job. Fill in the blank in the middle. Anybody else have any feedback for Ms. Smith? Good job. All right, Mr. Parks.
All right.
But before I go on, what I liked about Ms. Smith is that the rationale behind this question is not only that you understand that assistant principals do all that grunt work, but it is also to make sure you make that connection with the kids and relationships. And the other thing I would have mentioned, Ms. Smith, I didn't, in my mind, I don't record whether or not you said you'd be building relationships with students and parents, but that word relationships and that concept of building relationships is important. And that's what your staff would want to hear too. So make sure you mention relationships, building and maintaining very effective relationships for students to be successful and for the staff to be successful here.
Got it.
But also understand, hey, look, I give 110% to this job. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That's what assistant principals do.
That's true.
And don't be afraid to say, I want to pick your brain. I want to pick everything. I want to know everything that you can throw at me, because I want to be ready. When I have an opportunity to lead a school, I want to learn from you about how to do it well. Mm-hmm. Because the principal's going to be one of the final ones who makes that decision. Probably will be the one. Mm-hmm. All right, last question. And then we'll have some general conversations. Mr. Parks.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I don't really look too far ahead. So right now, I'm just looking forward to being here next year at Happy Valley Elementary School. I would love to be a principal one day. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of things that I want to decide on where my daughter is in her progression and age and her needs as well. I am a family man, so she comes first. So if she needs more and I'm not ready to jump into a principal role, then I will not be in doing that. But like I say, I just want to take it 1 year at a time and think about the spot at Happy Valley Elementary next year. With that being said, you know, I feel like there's a lot of great things that I can bring to this team to make it even better than where it is before. I feel like greatness is achieved by how you serve people. So right now I'm just kind of focused on doing well in this interview, being well as an assistant principal wherever I go, but hopefully the committee sees it necessary to bring me in next year and be a part of this team.
All right. What's the purpose of this question? Anybody?
More or less to kind of find out what your career direction is. Like, how do you see yourself making long-term contributions to, I guess, the school and possibly the district? Maybe.
That's thinking way, way up here. The committee may be thinking about, is he going to leave us in a year or two?
Yeah.
So this is a commitment question. Now, Anthony gave a pretty good answer. I would suggest, Anthony, that you would mention, here's how I would tackle that question, I guess is the best way. I would suggest that you say, because what they're trying to find out is the rationale is how loyal you are, your dedication to the school, as well as what is it that, you know, they want to know what exactly are you thinking? Because if you're thinking that you're going to be at Happy Valley for a year and then you're going to become principal at Sad Valley High School, that's not, they don't want that. Most staffs want a consistently, if it's a good team, they want an administration that kind of stays together for a long time. All of us like to work for a really good administration. We all like that stability. So the worst thing you can say in this question, and Anthony did not, was, you know, I'd like to be here for a year or two and then I'd like my own school. Yeah, wouldn't we all? And that may be what you want, but that's not very helpful to me as a staff member at Happy Valley. I'm thinking, am I going to train you, Anthony, and then you're going to go on over to Unhappy Valley? No. I want to hear that you have got some things to bring to Happy Valley, and you want to see them through. You want to see them till they are finished. You want to be a part of this team, and you want to get to the point where you can learn from not only the principal, but you can learn from those of us on the team, from teachers. So whatever your next job may be, that you'll be prepared for it. And the best answer to say is, I want to be prepared so when the district calls me for my next position, because that takes a little bit off of you saying in 2 years I want to be principal. So remember, this question is very simply trying to find out how long can they depend on you. And so don't give them an answer of 1 or 2 years and you're going to be looking. Give them an answer they want to hear. I want to be a part of this team. I want to grow with this team. And I want to, when the district tells me it's time for me to move to my next school, I want to be prepared. I want to take what I've learned from you guys. Now, there you go, you guys. I want to take what I've learned from you all to the next level. All right, so one final question for you, Ms. Smith. Anything else you want to tell me that I didn't ask? Oh, no, you never shake your head, Ms. Smith.
Oh, I thought you were talking to
Yeah,
like.
I'm talking to you. Anything else?
I'm sorry. I didn't know that was. Yes, I want to tell you all the other things that you did not ask me in the interview. Let me tell you in regards to how amazing my relationships are with students and parents in the community. Let me tell you about how passionate I am, as well as making sure that we're compliant across the board as it relates to special education and IEPs and making sure that we follow policy. Let me tell you that special education is truly my passion. I love all of the elements and supporting teachers within the special education department and supporting teachers throughout the school and learning more as to how to serve students that have been identified as special needs. Let me tell you how passionate and dedicated I am. I come up when the sun is down and I leave when the sun is down. I am loyal, I am a team player, and I am here to make impact. I want to make sure that I make impact in everything that I do. And when I say impact, a positive impact in every single thing that you assign to me for me to do. And I want to make sure that I not only meet your expectations, but I exceed your expectations as an employee here at Happy Valley Elementary.
Awesome. Because what I'm looking for in this question, you're finishing it up. Chances are there's not a question you want to ask, but if you let this question go and you shake your head and say, no, I don't, You're missing an opportunity to do one final pitch. And that is exactly what Ms. Smith did. She hit it perfectly in all the things that should be a perfect fit. She nailed that. The only thing I would suggest is that the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, I want to be here. I want to be your next assistant principal at Happy Valley Elementary School. So again, leave them knowing that that's what you want, and then fill in the blank with all these other things as passion that you're going to bring to the table. That was an excellent ending, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. I really thought I heard like a knock, so I thought that you were like responding to the knock, not asking me the question. But thank you.
All right. Any other comments for anybody? Are you ready to interview? Yes, of course you are. Smile. Focus on the team. Read your team. Know what they're saying. Know what they want to hear. And just realize all these fluff questions that's not about the math scores or things like that, they have a purpose. The people are watching you to see whether or not they want to work with you. They want to see whether or not you're somebody they can trust. They want to see whether or not you're someone who will be a good match for their school. And at every opportunity, you should mention children. And several times during your interview, you should specifically say, I want to be the next assistant principal at Happy Valley Elementary School. I really want to be a part of this team. All right, any questions, any comments? Anybody that's gone through this that's got another perspective?
I will say that I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I did a mock interview with 2 principals within the county. And I would have to say, for some reason, I felt more under pressure here than I did with them.
Really? I'm not that bad.
No, it's not. I don't know what it is, but it just felt more casual, like, so tell me about yourself. And I did. And so we in telling them about myself, we just started to have more of a conversation. But yeah.
Oh, that's tricky. That is tricky when they get you talking.
I know.
Be very, very careful, because they have, if it's just a general, let's talk and let's hear you, if you say one thing that, is kind of off, those are tricky. Those are really tricky when they just kind of make you feel at home and you let down your guard and you may say something, and never ever say anything bad about your current principal. They know, these people know each other.
They've already called.
They've already called. They know you. So, but really, truly, be careful when it's one of those really informal ones, because they may not have a set of questions, but they are definitely reading your body language. They're definitely hearing what you say and what you don't say. Practice before you go in for an interview. Practice with your spouse. Practice with someone. And remember, it's always important to just keep the face going with whoever's asking you the question. If you're and if it's a Zoom, it's really easy. But if you're in a other situation, you need to follow the person who's asking you the question. You all will do well. Any other comments before we zoom out?
Yes, sir. I had a question. With an interview for a teacher, typically the last question from the admin would be, do you have any questions for the staff or for the school? And you would respond, how's your climate or your different club committee? How are you guys on relationships? What would be your suggestion on a interview for an assistant principal if they were to say, do you have any questions?
Well, first and foremost, if you have questions, it means everybody's going to have questions, but I would not waste my time asking questions. I would turn around and say, I don't have any questions, but may I share with you why I think I'm a great fit for this school? Turn it around. Because if you ask me questions about the culture, I've heard that the culture, what's the culture like here? Somebody's got to answer it, and they don't want to answer it. And they certainly don't want to answer it in front of the principal. And the principal's tired of answering all the questions. So turn it around and say, I really don't have any questions, but may I use this moment to just talk again about why I feel like I'm a perfect match for Happy Valley Elementary School. And brag 1 or 2 more times. Mention you want that job. Mention you love children. You've done your research. This is a perfect fit for you. There's a lot you can bring to the table, but there's a lot you can learn from the experts around this table here now. Don't waste that with questions. No, nobody won't. Use it to brag. You gotta leave them with a feel good about you.
So, Dr. Stone, if I guess a comment and maybe you can clean it up, but I just see this interviewing process kind of like a little different than, I guess, interviewing out in the community. But this interview process is almost kind of like you want to join an organization, like you want to pledge. And so you're talking about everything that you can bring to the table to be a part of what the bigger team is. And so I don't know if anyone has pledged, but if you, I guess if you take that mindset, you more or less just focus on how you're a fit, no matter which angle they come at you, how you're a fit and what contributions you're making.
That's that's a great example. That's excellent. That's exactly what it is, because you're trying to convince them that you're going to be a part of that team. So yes, you are trying to join. All right, I'm going to stop recording and end the session. I will stick around in case anybody has any specific questions or anything. Let me say again, I've enjoyed being your instructor. You will do well. Anything I can assist you with, I hope that you'll call upon us. You have a life partner here at Gardner-Webb University. And if you've not done your student SOIs, please fill those out. We use that feedback. Other than that, it's been a real pleasure. I wish you well in life and success. So I'm going to stop recording. I'll hang around till the last person leaves me.
I have a quick question.